Imagine a clock that doesn't tell time, but instead warns us how close humanity is to global catastrophe. It's a clock watched not just by scientists, but by world leaders and activists alike. This clock isn't hidden in some secret laboratory. It's front and center for the world to see. It's called the Doomsday Clock. But what exactly is it, and why should we care? The Doomsday Clock is a symbolic representation of how close humanity is to global catastrophe. It's not measured in hours and minutes like a regular clock, but rather in minutes to midnight. Here, midnight represents the point of irreversible disaster, whether from nuclear war, climate change, or other catastrophic events. When the clock strikes midnight, it's a metaphorical indication that we've reached a tipping point from which there's no turning back. What's truly fascinating is that the clock isn't just any symbolic device. It's maintained by the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists, a group founded by scientists who helped develop the first atomic bomb. So, who decides where the hands of this clock should point? It's determined by the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists Science and Security Board. This board is made up of experts in fields such as nuclear science, climate change, and emerging technologies. Every year, they analyze global events and decide if the clock should move closer to, or further away from, midnight. The decisions are based on hard data and rigorous expert analysis, making the clock a respected indicator of global stability. But what makes the Doomsday Clock truly unique is the variety of factors it takes into account. Initially, it focused only on the threat of nuclear war. Over time, however, it expanded to include other existential risks such as climate change, cyber warfare, and artificial intelligence. These are just some of the threats that can influence how close we are to the end. For example, in 2018, the clock was set at 2 minutes to midnight, largely due to heightened nuclear tensions and inaction on climate change. In 2023, it moved even closer, to 90 seconds to midnight, the closest it has ever been. Let's take a look at the history of the clock's movements. When it was first introduced in 1947, it was set at 7 minutes to midnight, reflecting early concerns about nuclear weapons and the dawning of the nuclear age. In 1953, the clock moved to 2 minutes to midnight when both the US and USSR tested hydrogen bombs, significantly escalating the nuclear arms race. By 1991, at the end of the Cold War, the clock was set furthest from midnight at 17 minutes, symbolizing hope for global stability and an era of disarmament. Unfortunately, recent years have seen the clock edge closer and closer to midnight due to the re-emergence of nuclear tensions, lack of progress in addressing climate change, and the rise of disruptive technologies such as autonomous weapons and artificial intelligence. The Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists has even warned that the erosion of public trust in science, the spread of misinformation, and weakening of global institutions like the United Nations are all contributing factors that increase global risk. But it's not all doom and gloom. The clock's purpose is to serve as a wake-up call. It's not just about pointing out the dangers we face, but encouraging people, governments, and institutions to take action. For example, following the signing of the Paris Climate Agreement in 2015, there was optimism that humanity could come together to tackle one of its biggest challenges, climate change. While the clock's hands didn't move back dramatically, it did inspire conversations and commitments worldwide, highlighting that our actions, no matter how small, can have a ripple effect on global security. A common misconception about the Doomsday Clock is that it's a countdown to an actual doomsday event, but that's not true. It's not predicting an exact moment of disaster. Instead, it's a metaphor designed to raise awareness and spur action. The clock serves as a barometer of how dangerous our world has become, encouraging everyone to ask, what can we do to turn back the clock? As of the most recent update, the Doomsday Clock is set at 90 seconds to midnight, the closest it has ever been. This is a wake-up call. It means we're living in a time of unprecedented danger. Political tensions, lack of action on climate change, and emerging technologies like artificial intelligence are all pushing us closer to the edge. But it's important to remember that the clock isn't about instilling fear. It's a reminder that there's still time to act, to pull back from the brink, and to make decisions that ensure a safer future for everyone. It's easy to feel overwhelmed or powerless in the face of these enormous challenges. But the truth is, the Doomsday Clock isn't just about the actions of world leaders or scientists. It's about us too. Our voices, our votes, and our choices all play a role. Whether it's reducing our carbon footprint, advocating for disarmament, or supporting policies that promote peace and sustainability, there's something each of us can do to help push the hands of the clock back. And the clock itself is more than just a reminder of how close we are to disaster. It's a testament to the fact that, despite everything, we're still here. We haven't reached midnight yet, which means there's still hope. The story of the Doomsday Clock isn't just about fear, It's about resilience. It's about recognizing the power we have to shape our world, to make it safer, and to create a future where the clock's hands point further and further away from disaster. The Doomsday Clock isn't set in stone. It's a dynamic symbol that changes based on our actions and decisions. So what can you do? Stay informed, advocate for positive change, and demand that leaders around the world prioritize global security and the environment. If we all do our part, maybe, just maybe, we can turn back the clock. So what do you think? Do we still have time to change course, or are we running out of time? Are we closer to global catastrophe than ever before? Or is there hope on the horizon? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this video enlightening, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, stay curious and stay aware.